Good morning and welcome to the first meeting of March. I know it's a little foggy out there, but we're moving into spring. Want to talk to you about a couple things that are going on, and I look forward to answering your questions. First and foremost, the Pensacola Youth Council is getting started. This is something we've been wanting to do for quite a while. It's a League of Cities sponsored thing that allows students, high school students interested in becoming involved in their community, learning about the inner workings of local government and sharpening their leadership skills. We are working with the City of Gulf Breeze and the City of Milton. We have applications that are out now for the inaugural program that are due Friday, March 12th at 4 p.m. So if you have a senior, as a junior, you need to be in the 11th or 12th grade, either a junior or senior during the 2021 year, which is this year. You can apply, and we hope that your juniors and seniors will apply. The Youth Council was created to give Pensacola youth an opportunity to participate in the government process through the leadership and service-oriented program for young leaders. During COVID-19, all Pensacola Youth Council meetings and activities will be virtual during the spring 2021 semester. The initial pilot program will run for 9 weeks from March 22nd through May 21st. To be considered for the Youth Council, students must meet the following requirements: be a City of Pensacola resident, be in 11th or 12th grade, during this academic year, and submit the completed application by Friday, May 12th deadline. Pensacola Youth Council will consist of 12 members. Selected students must commit to being actively involved in the program. You can join us at visit cityofpensacola.com to download a program application. The application is due by this Friday, March 12th at 4 o'clock, and notification of selection and appointments will be made on Friday, March 19th. So they can get started after coming back from spring break. Mayor's Neighborhood Cleanups. The second Mayor's Neighborhood Cleanup happened this past weekend, and we saw great participation from residents, collecting 90 tons of bulk waste, 980 gallons of paint, and 90 tires. The cleanup took place on Saturday, and the event provides an opportunity with City of Pensacola sanitation customers to clean up area eligible items and leave them at the curb. The next Mayor's Cleanup was scheduled for Saturday, March 27th. For more information on that location, visit cityofpensacola.com. The City of Pensacola Public Works and Facilities Department recently completed 3 stormwater infrastructure projects as a part of the city's ongoing efforts to enhance and improve stormwater infrastructure. Recent stormwater infrastructure improvements included B Street and Gimbel stormwater projects, Spring Street stormwater infrastructure improvement, and the 9th Avenue manhole rehabilitation project. These projects included repairing and rehabilitating stormwater pipes that were several decades old and in significant disrepair, preventing potential safety hazards. Our staff works incredibly hard to keep our stormwater system in top shape, and I'm glad to see these projects continue to be completed throughout the city. There's a big one. Cypress Street is temporarily is to have a temporary detour beginning March 8th. A section of Cypress Street between I Street and Gregory Street will temporarily detour traffic beginning Monday, March 8th at 7 p.m. as a part of the Cypress Street Stormwater Infrastructure Project. Construction is expected to take approximately 5 days to complete. Weather permitting, traffic will be detoured via Sonia Street during the construction. Work will begin between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. daily, but traffic in this section of Cypress Street will be detoured around the work 24 hours a day for safety purposes. Stormwater improvement project will repair and rehabilitate stormwater manholes located within the intersections of Cypress Street and I, as well as Cypress Street and J. For questions about the project, please contact City of Pensacola Public Works and Facilities at 435-1645. But we have a lot of stormwater projects going on. CPAC will be having their meeting tomorrow at March 2nd at 5:30. The meeting will take place in Hagler Mason. Members of the public cannot attend in person. City Hall is closed until further notice. Members may attend via live stream or phone. To view live stream, visit cityofpensacola.com/video. To sign up to speak, visit cityofpensacola.com/CPAC input starting at 1 p.m. Tuesday, March 2nd. There are also several other things that are going on this week, one of which I had the opportunity, I'm going to talk a little bit about. I was out on Olive Road, but we just this week, past week, council approved we're in the middle of the first reading. The second reading will be coming up here in a little under 2 weeks for the second reading on our complete streets ordinance. I had the opportunity the last couple of weeks to drive Olive Road at length, and it looks incredibly great. Now, I know that took probably 4 years of construction in 2 different segments to get it all finished. And there was a lot of times where it was not fun to go on Olive Road, but it is significantly better. I know it took me about 12 years when I was at the county to work that project through, but I think that shows what you can see with a complete streets project when you get it done. You see the sidewalks on both sides, the bike lanes, the other infrastructure that's in place, but it really looks good. And there are more things that we would like to do in neighborhoods. I'm very excited. I saw a number of people in Ferry Pass walking on the road. We took the old, there was a pond next to the skate center, or there was a veterinarian that flooded always next to the skate center. We turned that into a retention pond. It's actually a wet detention pond with a walking track around it. I saw 5 people this morning out walking on it. Again, I think that kind of shows things that we can be doing and what we want to do. I know Mike Z, our Complete Streets coordinator, really wants to do some more things like this in places as we move forward, and even just other things we can be doing with traffic calming and opportunity for people, both sidewalks, bike lanes, and all the things that we need to be able to move people back and forth. So again, very excited what we can do. And I would say there is a section of the city of Pensacola, our very northernmost limit is some apartments that are right on Olive. They have the chance to be right there to see what's going on with the new Olive Road. And I was incredibly impressed. And again, would love to do more projects like that here in the city of Pensacola, and looking forward to those things coming forward. Also, hopefully in 2 weeks, we're going to be approving baseball stadium lease with the Wahoos that'll hopefully put them in, keep them here at the stadium for another 10 years. We're going to be doing several improvements to the stadium to bring it up to major league standards. Again, there were about 40 cities with stadiums that no longer have teams since Major League Baseball took over minor league baseball. But again, we're very fortunate that Pensacola is one of the sites that Major League Baseball wants to continue to stay in. And we're excited that we think this lease structure that we've got with the Wahoos really allows us to do that. It also allows us to finalize where we're going to go for capital improvements with some participation from the Wahoos, but really the remainder of those contributions coming from the CRA. No one has benefited more from the Blue Wahoos and the activity downtown than the CRA. You can see the jump in the CRA values really since the stadium opened in 2012. So again, we are finishing up our 10th year this year with the lease, and we're looking to extend for another 10 years, and very excited about what that will do as we come forward to council in 2 weeks. COVID-19, we are now, our positivity rate from the state has been at 4.71. We had the other day, we were at 5.29 on February 24th. The 25th was 4.94, and then on Friday we were at 5.02. So again, we have moved down our positivity, which is a good thing. That in turn just shows what we've been doing in our hospitalizations. On the 24th, we were at 98. We had just gotten below 100, which was a good thing. But then on the 25th, we went to 97, 26, 87, 27th, we were at 76, and yesterday 72, and waiting to hear from Sacred Heart. But so far between Baptist and West Florida, they're down 1 as well. So again, we continue to see things moving in the right direction. We don't even think at this particular time that we've seen the benefits from what the vaccine will start to show for us as we move forward. The vaccine, and again, we're still asking you to do all the social distancing, but again, we've now gone under 75. I do think over the next couple of weeks we'll get down to that 50, and then we'll have other things we'll have to look at. This week, the Department of Health has announced the vaccine distribution plan for Escambia County. Vaccines allocated by the state of Florida are being distributed through the health center, which are receiving allocations based on our percentage of 65 and older at this particular time. Sacred Heart Ascension is getting 500 doses. Baptist Healthcare 500 doses. Community Health Northwest Florida 800 doses. Department of Health Escambia is 500, and West Florida Hospital 200. Some appointments will be scheduled using the statewide pre-registration system. Escambia, Florida Department of Health, Escambia, and partner agencies are in the process of contacting individuals to schedule appointments. Statewide pre-registration system for COVID-19 vaccine appointments. The Department of Health is using statewide pre-registration systems to schedule COVID-19 vaccinations. Escambia County residents should use this statewide pre-registration system to sign up. Residents can call toll-free line at 866-201-1025 or pre-register online at myvaccine.florida.gov. There's a TTY number for the deaf and hard of hearing that is 833-476-1461. And registrants will be notified when appointments are available in their area. The state has established a health line at 833-959-0217 for those who need to change their original pre-registration. And Casey, we'll have all those numbers on our website and our social media, so people can see those numbers in email website signups. Pre-registration system will proactively contact vaccine eligible individuals to schedule appointments when they are available. Appointments are based upon vaccine supply received each week. It is important to know that scheduling process will not involve collecting any payment or other financial information. Do not give any bank account. This is important. Do not give bank account, credit card, or other type of payment to anyone. Report a caller to the Attorney General. If somebody calls you and says it's a part of COVID, they need something from you for payment, we need you to call 866-9-NO-SCAM or visit myfloridalegal.com. Anytime you're asked, they're just talking to you about scheduling, and there is no regard to payment. For information about Florida Department of Health and Escambia COVID-19, visit escambiahealth.com or follow them on Twitter at Healthy Escambia for vaccine updates and new information. I do just want to say, I know that this has been sort of an internal discussion for a while. We are looking to get into back to essential employees, and I know between administration and HR, there's been significant discussion about getting vaccines. Certainly here at the administration, to make sure that we encourage everyone to get there and show that certainly you can go out and the vaccine is okay. As a part of that, I know that this morning, that's why I was a little late, but I've got my first shot today. We've been working with them, and we will be going out and sending some stuff out through HR to all our employees to remind them how important it is to get their vaccine. I've gotten my vaccine, and I know this has been a discussion, and Keith also with his. We felt like city administration needed to be the first to say we could go do it. And again, don't be afraid or anything else. We need everyone to do it. It's important. It's the only way we'll eventually get on top of the virus and begin to really get back to a time where we can get away from having to worry about the virus. We need everybody to participate. Certainly the things that I know that Isaac Williams is on my transition team, reminding those members in the African American community who have been more hesitant to get out there and sign up for the vaccine, how important it is, and that we need all segments of our population to sign up. So we hope you will do that. We're working through the process, and I can assure you, I've gone through the process, and you sit there for 15 minutes after you get the shot. It doesn't hurt too bad, and you find out you're okay. You move forward, and I'm scheduled for at the end of March to get my second one. So we will do that. I want to give a huge thank you out there to Sacred Heart Ascension at Olive Baptist. I participated in the shot out there. Really appreciate Ted Traylor and his team allowing that facility to be used. And again, they're getting a ton of people through there vaccinated. Please continue to watch what you're doing. We're going to be continuing to push this to our employees as it now becomes open. It's going to start opening to essential employees back again. And we want to make sure that all of your City of Pensacola workers get their vaccines so that we're as immune as we can be to the virus and its impacts. That's it at this particular time. Casey, if you want to tell me what we've got as far as questions.
Sure. So this is from David WWF. Hi, Mayor. 1 year into the COVID pandemic, talk about the past year as mayor, including you and your son battling the disease. Did any of the priorities for 2020 have to be placed on the back burner for 21?
Well, I mean, looking back in it, it's hard to totally look back at it because we're obviously still living through a little bit of it. It was a crazy year, and certainly it has been dominated by COVID. You know, it's one of the things that I often say. A lot of times you go into election and you are looking and people tell you about different things about what they're going to do. What I've always said is you can tell people some of the stuff, but the more important part is to tell who you are as a character, because you never really know what's going to happen. We obviously came in thinking we were going to do one thing, and for a year we did spend doing that. But the year of 2020 has really been sidelined, and it did get detoured in a lot of ways by COVID. It was dominated even by issues that sparked off of that. But overall, COVID has a significant impact on what happened in 2020. It's one of the reasons why we keep seeing so many things that are sort of coming to a head here in February and March. Is so many projects that we talked about doing simply have been delayed, and they're all sort of forced into this one time period. But I think we are making progress. We've continued to talk about. Again, I feel very good about the future of where Pensacola goes coming through here once we get out of this. But again, we're still dealing with it. Personally, from a lot of ways, obviously, I have had a chance to see it. I saw my son got it early. I think we didn't know much about it. But again, him having that and having a chance to experience it and see it, I learned a lot of things. That's where it certainly influenced me about masks. We were very vigilant about him wearing a mask and doing other things. And we all, you know, he came down and lived with us the first couple of days he had it before moving back to my mother-in-law's house. But none of us ended up picking it up. I was tested multiple times during that time. None of us picked it up. We quarantined. But I saw the need and what could happen. You know, if you properly handle masks in other situations and deal with washing your hands and all the other things we're doing, you can keep yourself safe. We did go through the year from my family, my personal standpoint. I mean, we maintained vigilance, wore masks, did everything we could do, managed to escape it. Then we got to Christmas, and again, we certainly were, you know, we weren't so much expecting. My son had already had it once. We didn't expect him to catch it again. Obviously, when he caught it again, it was a little bit surprising to us. We had spent the night going out to dinner with him and having drinks and not really thinking about it, you know, and sure enough, that's when I came down with it. And then I gave it to my wife, and we ended up spending the Christmas holidays with COVID. Felt very glad to be over with it, and it felt great really since then. I felt very fortunate, but obviously I felt it was important to get the vaccine. Administration and HR felt it was incredibly important to have you know, Keith and I go out there and do it and send out, you know, we're going to try to send out some correspondence to city employees and remind them how important it is to get the vaccine, and we need everybody to participate. And again, my arm's doing fine. Nothing's happened. You get to sit there for 15 minutes and make sure nothing goes wrong with your vaccine. But overall, you know, from my standpoint, I feel good and feel good working forward, and I'll let you know how that continues to go, and we're continuing to move forward. We want to get everybody vaccinated. That's the most important part that we'd like to do, and you know, it's not going to happen overnight. But again, you know, our whole purpose is saying yes, we need to do it, and I guess the best way to do that, and the way we discuss that internally, is certainly for leadership to be out there in front, going first to go get it, and then express it to the rest of the staff that this is something you need to do. But that's kind of where we are. I hope I answered your question, Dave. If there's something else, let me know. Casey, what other question do we have?
I have another one from Dave at WWF. With the legislature kicking off Tuesday, what are you hoping to see in regards to bills affecting the city of Pensacola?
Um, for the most part, we didn't put a lot of appropriation. We know this is going to be a challenging year. I think our only appropriation was dealing with the funding that we want to celebrate the 200th anniversary, and much of that is really to deal with what the Secretary of State does in those big, the big metal. We want one of those that markers that kind of designates 200 years happening here. With Andrew Jackson in Plaza Ferdinand, and the fact that Escambia County is 200 years old. So that's really our only appropriation. We have a lot of other things that we're dealing with at the city that we'll continue to work with. In fact, Representative Andretti was here Friday. We were discussing some things with some legislation we had related to airports and PFAS and what we're doing and how we're moving forward. And it was a good conversation. Those are some things we're looking at. I do know we're working with DOT at this particular time to get everything perhaps in a design phase for a multi-use path on Scenic. But not until we have that design phase will we be able to go seek funding. And again, this is going to be a challenging year for funding. So, that's fine that in a couple of years, it's going to push us out a couple of years, but we think that's a great project, multi-use path there. Most of what we're doing is sort of when you had the opportunity to see President Tony Ortiz in Pensacola last week, and we were very glad to have him here. Much of what we're doing is fighting preemptions, fighting more attempts of the state legislature to remove local government. And what we do, we have zoning laws. The home-based business sounds great. Pensacola zoning already allows for certain home-based businesses that are not a nuisance to your neighbors. So those could already be done. But what this law potentially does is let things like a restaurant, type of retail or anything else that happens, service type of industry in your neighborhood where you have additional cars, additional all kind of other operations going on. That's why we have business districts and we have residential districts, and we think that's worked through the zoning. We certainly want people to have home-based businesses that are compatible with their homes and their neighborhoods, but there are some that just simply aren't, and those need to be in certain zones, and we believe city zoning has taken care of that. We hope the legislature will respect that, and we'll see what happens. But those are the kind of bills I think you heard him here talking about. Obviously, we've talked several times about 5G and what continues to be the challenge with 5G. We know we got a lot of people here who have concerns about 5G, but at the end of the day, there's not much that we can do in what we do. We try to work with the cellular facilities. You probably see. If you see parks and other places, other public property, we work very diligently to make sure we place those antennas in public property. But sometimes there's not a place to do that, so it ends up on private property, and we're continuing to work through those to figure out how to make them as best as possible. We just met last week with a neighborhood and discussed some things we could do for them, but that's what we're trying to tackle it. And again. It makes it a little bit of a challenge. We met significantly with Derek, and he made some good points. A few people have said, well, I want it to be, a concrete pole or a metal pole, and that's good. However, if you have all wooden poles, if you have one concrete or metal pole, then that pole really sticks out. Whereas sometimes if you have a wooden pole and it looks like all the other wooden poles, it's much less noticeable. But overall, we're trying to work through that. I noticed a couple of poles that are on Bayou Boulevard, and they really sort of blend in with the other power poles that are there. But again, we're certainly working through those things. But 5G is another example of a preemption that happens from the state legislature, which we try to fight. And that's what probably we'll be doing most of our work, was on defense, trying to keep any of these bad preemption bills from occurring.
This is from Jeremy in Weekly. Can you elaborate on or clarify the intended purpose and goal of the Youth Council and outline what exactly the council will be doing? I will mention that I just sent a press release out too with a little more information, so but you can elaborate on that as well.
Well, it gives students the chance to experience and see what government is like. I think I think Jeff Bergosh did this with the commission a while back. It was after I had left, but they had sort of pulled something together. We're looking to do the same thing. It's a program through the Florida League of Cities. Jewel Canada Win, this is something she'd been on for a while when Dave talked about, hey, what potentially have you missed or not been able to do? Well, we had intended to do this last year with Jewel before she left, and obviously COVID changed our ability to do this. So we've been talking about it since 2019. We were going to do it in 2020, and then COVID has delayed us to 2021. But it's really a chance for us to get involved with our 2 high schools and get students that are active, wanting to participate in looking at opportunities to serve in local government, opportunities to advance in leadership. But it's one of the things we've talked about at length with both principals we've been meeting with, and I met with Superintendent Smith the other day, and we've met with the principals both at Washington and at PHS, and both of those are city high schools, and we want to find a way to give city students a chance to participate and really think about opportunities. We have not done a good job of letting students know that there are great career opportunities right here in public sector that you can do, that you may not become Jeff Bezos, but you can make a good living and really serve your community. And I think those are things we need to be looking at as well, in how we develop talent and leadership and grow that. And this is one way to do it. We're participating with Gulf Breeze in the city of Milton, so we think it's a good thing across all of Northwest Florida, the very western end of Northwest Florida here in Escambia and Santa Rosa counties. So we're very excited about starting this project. They both of those cities wanted to do this as well. So it's really just kind of been a chance for us to kick it off, and we had intended to do this in 2020, but obviously COVID pushed us back.
This is also from Jeremy. What are your thoughts on council's rejection of the Maritime Park deal?
Well, they didn't reject the deal. What they rejected was the contract with the real estate agent. Again, that was more trying to set up really a path that could deal with all of the different properties over there and the prospects that we're dealing with. And again, I would have rather seen that. The challenge with that is it went beyond the capacity of the 323,000 that was already budgeted to do this. Council had already given us the authority to do that. So I think we've kind of taken it back and really just trying to pursue we've already moved forward with an agreement for Andrew. I mean, the biggest thing we've got is wanting to make sure that the parcels that have the parking garage are going to happen. That's got to become a reality. That's what's holding up the development for what's going on with the rest of that facility. And I think if we can get the development in there that also provides the biggest piece of public infrastructure, which is a parking garage that can handle all the things that we want to do there, it has the potential to really unlock the rest of the pieces that I'd certainly be happy to work with the other prospects, but if things don't work out, we have lots of other opportunities available to us once we get that parking garage built. That's the one that we're most interested in and looking to bring something to the council on March 25th. I think that's going to be the most important thing. We're looking at about a 1,000 car garage. And those things cost it's about $18,000 a space, so you're putting it about 18 to 19 million dollars is what you're looking at. So that is a fairly sizable piece of infrastructure. When you think about the entire park, everything associated with it was 42 million, and the parking garage is 18 to 19 million. I think it tells you how important that piece of public infrastructure is and why you've got to get it right and how you have to do it. And certainly that's the expertise that we were looking on more importantly than anything with Andrew. And we're going to, we've already moved forward. We had the ability to hire him with the funds that were already allocated and moving forward. I would have liked to have had an agreement that could have moved forward with more parcels than just the original beginning with Silver Hills. But again, we've got that contract moving forward. We're planning to bring it to council, and we have an agreement that I think can work with Andrew on that. The most important part is really getting that piece of public infrastructure. Again, it's almost half of the whole park. So it really kind of puts it in perspective how important that is, and it really has an impact on what happens with the rest of the park.
This is from Maddie at Pensacola News Journal. What are some of the planned improvements needed at Blue Wahoo Stadium that you mentioned with the new lease?
They have a couple things they want to do. One, it's been kind of a discussion and debate since I've gotten here. I think even before I was here, there's been some discussion since UWF opened football about the turf. Probably we've had a grass turf. Those typically last about 5 years. We should have replaced this probably 2 or 3 years ago. We haven't replaced it yet, but as we look going forward, it probably is going to, well, two things are going to precipitate the need for having multiple uses, but also really now going to the Miami Marlins, who also have a desire for all of their I guess minor league players to experience the same field and same turf that if they make it all the way up to Miami, they'll have. So these ball clubs want them to have the same type of turf and everything else. So, from that standpoint, they'll have that. That's part of that's part of the biggest requirement, and it's the most expensive requirement. We also have lights at the stadium that we've got to do. I think there's a consistency with the types of lighting that Major League Baseball wants. So regardless of whatever field you go to, the people who are experience the same. The batters, the pitchers, the players, they all experience the same lighting. So they want to go to a standard lighting, and it's going to require that we change out bulbs, which doesn't sound really expensive, but I mean these type of bulbs, and as many of them as there are on all the poles, it adds up. It gets several $100,000 in bulbs, and then finally, they want to move the bullpens out of play, so that you're less likely to get hit. And where they want to take them is you've probably seen major league stadiums. A lot of them now have moved them out into the outfield. We're talking about doing the same thing off left field. We have an ability between the walkway and the stadium to put them out there and have bullpens, they're more out of the way of general foul balls and protected by the fence. Now, certainly home runs still go there, but for the most part, they see that as a significant protection for those that are in the bullpens. You saw the netting we put up last year. I think Major League Baseball has been very focused on safety, and they want us to do the same thing. So that's what we're doing. Those are probably the three biggest improvements that we've got to make. Those three together right there total $2 million, 1.9 something. I mean, it's essentially $2 million. We are working with the Wahoos so that they will spend that money, and we will reduce what we have been paying in rent, and they will go procure those items. They already have agreements with Major League Baseball on them. So again, we feel like this allows us to move things as quickly as possible, and hopefully to finish all these by the time we may not be able to move the bullpens this year, but if we can get the lights and the turf done by the time they're looking to start in May, this would be a very good thing. So that's why we got to get it done next week. And we're at this point, we think it's a great deal. It extends Major League Baseball for 10 years here. It keeps us playing there, and there are a lot of cities. There are 40 plus cities that lost their teams. Pensacola still has one, and we have the chance to secure that for another 10 years.
And these questions are from Maddie at P&J. I'm just going to ask them both together because they're related. Which vaccine brand did the mayor receive, and how did the mayor qualify for the vaccine?
We have been, I got the Moderna. Again, this was set up. I know Keith has been working this, and Ted with Sacred Heart. They have been working to set up this. We've been talking with them. I know when I was out there Friday, Sacred is looking to move into teachers and do some things for teachers. We are looking to move into our personnel. So again, this is one that Keith and Ted Kircher had been working with Sacred. They came and set it up for me. I really hadn't even planned it. I kept thinking I was going to need to wait 90 days. They said now the guidance has gone down to 14. So at 60 days, I qualified. And again, they made the call with that, and felt like the most important thing was for us to, as leadership, to be at least showing city employees that yes, it's safe, it's good, and we need you all to do it. So again, I mean, I had not expected to do it. It was not something I was really looking to do. Keith came to me and said, "Hey, we need you to be the city guinea pig. So go out there and do it." So that's what we did this morning. He and I both went out there and got our first shots, and we'll look forward to getting our second ones. But I mean, I think more than anything else, we need to send the message to our city employees: this is important. We need you to do it. We aren't going to go send you to go do something, ask you to go do something that we're not willing to do. So from that standpoint, we felt it was important, and I appreciated Keith and setting this up, and met him out there today. Had a chance to ride down the Olive Road, and it made me think of all the things that we had going on with the complete streets. But got there this morning, got my shot. It was really no tremendous process to go through. It didn't hurt, didn't do anything else. You sit there for 15 minutes and got up and left. So look forward to getting back, and really appreciate all the workers at Sacred Heart that are doing that out there at Olive, and we hope they will they'll keep doing that until we're finished as a community, and I know that's one of the challenges.
This is from Andrew at News Radio. On complete streets, there seems to be a wide range of understandings. At one extreme, Olive Road was massively costly and time-consuming. At the other extreme, North Palafox was cheap and fast, only necessitating striping. If council passes complete streets, will revamping the city this way be more like Olive or more like North Palafox? And how widespread will the revamping be?
Andrew, I agree with you. I don't think Olive is going to be what we're going to see all overall, but there may be opportunities to do that. And certainly as we work with DOT, as we work with them, our expectation is to see any new roads that do go in, if we put in new infrastructure, that it does comply with complete streets. That's our goal. That's going to be like Olive. I think it'll be much more like Palafox. In fact, we continue to work with DOT on wanting to do Palafox from Cervantes all the way up to the city border, and do it very similar, where it goes down to 2 lanes with parking and a protected bike lane. I think that is something that can be done. We're certainly working to continue to try to do that, and I think that will happen. Obviously, the bridge, COVID, and some other things have also slowed them down. There was a lot of good discussion we had there. The other thing was the two-way of MLK and Alkanese. I mean, and MLK and Davis. The two-way of that and the Palafox diet are things that we're going to do with DOT, but have gotten slowed down a little bit by the bridge and COVID. But I do expect to pick back up. I think those things are what you will see, but there's lots of other things we could do. We're talking about, with Councilwoman Breyer, talked about, wanting to look at us to do something more with Langley. I don't know how many. I asked her sort of, I don't see a whole lot of people using the parking spaces on Langley. Is there a way we can get the parking spaces back? Maybe do some complete streets, put a bike path in there, bike lane, try to do something, narrow some of those things down, and try to control speed. There's all sorts of things we can do. So it doesn't have to be a brand new Olive construction, but I do think if you're going to do new construction, that we send the message that from here on out, we'd like it to be complete streets, and something like an Olive Road. But I agree with you, as much headache as that went through, it took me 12 years to be able to do that. And I was gone the last 2 years of construction finish. So it's been a 14-year process to get there. It is probably more costly and more lengthy than what we need for most everything. We really need something cheaper and something that moves faster. But and I think that's what we will see. I don't think you're going to. I think you're going to be more likely to see that. But overall, it's a commitment that again, bike safety, pedestrian safety is incredibly important in what we need to be doing. Now, right now, Derek and his team have put in miles of sidewalk repair, and also the curb cuts. I think we have about 2 or 3 more years left of that project. We're continuing to spend a lot of LOST money on that, and we will do that. And Derek and his team are doing a great job. And I know we put a huge bunch of lists there. If we haven't gotten to you so far, it's not because we don't want to. It's just because it's like getting vaccine. You got to get the supply in, and then you can go out and do the the stuff to do the construction to help the demand. But we're working on that, and I just think more than anything else, this kind of establishes sort of a baseline of what our expectation is as we move forward. But I think you're exactly right, Andrew. I think we'll see more palafoxes than we do olives.
And this is from Jeremy at MWeekly. He said, just to be clear, city employees like you and Keith got vaccinated because you fall under essential personnel or because you wanted to lead by example and demonstrate the vaccine safety. And let me just add, because Keith actually let me know that you both qualified due to medical risk. Without going into, I don't want to get into all the medical details, but
well, I don't know about Keith, but I think my BMI gave me the opportunity to qualify. I didn't want to get into my girth too much, but my BMI did qualify. But I think it was really more both. We are about to start doing essential workers, and the discussion came up. I hadn't planned to do this at all. In fact, I didn't even set the appointment. City staff set the appointment for me, and then I went in. But I do agree. They came to brief me and said, "Hey, we really think you need to do this, and here's why." As we move into the essential employees, we need to do that. But I did qualify. So from that standpoint, my girth helped me qualify for that. But again, we've been working with Sacred. I think you'll start to see transitions. I mean, they were clearly talking about perhaps next week they're going to start seeing teachers that they can do this for. We are looking, and while we were out there, we had a chance to talk with them about our police, first responders, and other essential personnel that we were talking about what we need to do. So that's been in the works for some time. Again, that's where we went. And, from my standpoint, I had not expected to do it, even though for some time I was, we were on things back in December talking to you about that. And I was joking, saying I didn't really see myself as essential personnel when we thought it was going to go that way back in January. So again, it was really not my expectation. But as we're starting to get to that, the discussion came down from both administration and HR that they felt it was important that we do that and send the signal to our employees as we start to hit essential workers that it's something everybody needs to do, and it's hard to tell people they need to go get vaccinated if you're unwilling to go get vaccinated first. So that's why we went, and we hope to send that message to our employees and the expectation that we would like them to be vaccinated, just like to all citizens. We hope they will do that as well, because it really, beating the virus and getting back to what we would call normal is going to take all of us participating in this.
This is from Andrew McKay. If DOT roads won't be complete streets compliant, how much will that interfere with accomplishing the overall goal of connectivity for bikes or pedestrians, since their roads are such big barriers in the grid?
Well, I think, Andrew, once we have it now in place, I think we can go to DOT and make sure as they do more improvements. Now, obviously, they're about to do Cervantes, and many of the things they've got in that Cervantes project are about pedestrian safety. So it is a safety project. It may not have been the exact way we would have done it, but it is a safety project, and we're going to work with them on that. So I believe this more than anything allows us to set expectation with DOT as we move forward. It really just allows us to establish this is where we're going to start. So if there are any other projects, they're going to be oriented in this direction, and I think it's a good thing.
All right, we don't have any more questions.
Well, thank you very much. We'll look forward to seeing you next week. I will be out the following week, which I think is the 15th. I will be out, so we will not do we'll do a press conference that weekend, but we will see you next week. Won't see you on the 15th. I'll be out for spring break and be out of town. Thank you very much.